Broken Generation podcast, back with another topic, another discussion.
Broken.
Is that your thing?
Yeah.
Remember we spoke about you having an intro?
I don't have one, but I'll get one soon.
Yeah? What's your,
Is GC the Golden City's Golden Boy Fountains fans front man for way back when? Just a young black man trying to build his kingdom. And this building.
Oh, nice. I was about to say, do you remember?
I don't remember all of it, but that's
Minds?
good enough, man. It was good enough.
Whatever happened with Two Black Minds? Is that?
Me and my partner in crime set up a business.
Okay.
And therefore, business and friendship and pleasure not run the same, innit?
Okay.
We get back to it, man, because I love that podcast. It was a different kind of... It's a hell of a lot more serious.
No, it wasn't. Well, you used to try and lower the tone a bit.
I tried to, but he weren't in it.
He weren't in it. He weren't laughing. He might do too loud, deep as well, deep voice. And then it's back to the seriousness.
Yeah. Shout out to Kafson on that one.
Yeah, but you had some good topics, man.
Yeah, man. It's still there. Still there. If people want to go and listen back to a few old episodes.
What's it? Where can they find it?
All audio platforms. Two Black Minds. Did it, man.
Simple as that. All right, brother. Now we're dealing with the broken generation, and it's not as serious, even though we do touch on some serious conversation.
Yes,
and we
do
touch on serious subjects and topics. And obviously, like we always say, if it's affecting someone or they want to look deeper into it, there is a whole worldwide web that they can go and search. Or you could just stay with us and hear the foolishness that we got to say.
That's a fact.
How we flip things and see it differently. So, on today's topic, today's episode, we're going to be talking about community values.
Come on.
So this sounds like something that is serious, but I know we're going to find a way to flip it somewhere along the line. So, for you, what does community values mean, or community?
I think community is important. I think as humans, we are, by our very nature, we are communal people.
Yeah.
I think by nature, you desire to live life with other people. So I think whether that's the first man that ever lived on earth, and if you believe in Christianity or the old Judaic belief that Adam was created and then Eve was formed out of his rib and then they were told to go and multiply, then we understand that humanity or humans were relational people and communal people. And I just think that's just normal. We're tribal people. We find things that we are alike, and then we create tribes out of it. Whether it's a football team, whether it's a sports team, whether it's, you like anime, or you like this, or you like that. You always find those things naturally happening, definitely in schools as well. Like naturally children will group together into different sects. These are the sports kids, these are the cool kids, these are the strange ones. Do you know what I mean?
They find where they belong.
Yeah. So I think the greater scheme of things is community is important because I think people are important. And because people are important, we need strong communities that are helping, supporting one another in whatever context that looks like.
Everyone, make sure you vote for Dean Henry on the upcoming election. That sounded like a politician's pitch, my brother.
Tutus, I mean,
that was serious.
I may one day be a politician.
Nah, that sounded like a politician's pitch. Yeah, I hear that. Make sure you go and vote for him, yeah, on the upcoming election.
And I think community looks totally different from what it once did.
Yeah.
So maybe that's a better way of saying it. We're not running from community, we're running from the traditional idea of community.
Yeah.
So whereas back in the day, community meant where we physically are around one another or people that we know and we deem it our community. So whether that is centered around a religious service, whether it's a Sunday church service, whether it's a midweek mosque gathering, whether it's a specific Filipino building or a Jamaican building or stuff like that.
I don't know if we could put religion into community though. Mm-hmm. Because I think religion is still strong. Like churches are still filled to the brim. Like if we're talking about what they called like a community AGM. You know, like sometimes you get them flyers through the door that says, we're going to discuss what goes on in your community. Come to the local community centre. I assume not a lot of people turn up, or the people that do turn 100%. Up are the regular people that have organised it, or have major concerns. Like I don't believe there's a lot of people that turn up to those things.
Yeah, 100%. So, but what I would say is historically, those, because they were, I wouldn't say the specific religion, but even though some religions do encourage it, I think the fact that you have a building and that building is often used for community researches or reasons, and it's based in a church. So, for example, in Gloucester, there's where you vote. There's a place where I vote.
Yeah.
2 places that are where I voted, and they're always in churches. They are churches, basically. So, to some extent, they're a community project of sorts because community events happen there. But historically, we talk about community. You might say something as simple as going outside the front door and saying hello to your neighbor. I think we're going away from that, whereas we're not saying hello to our neighbors often, or even trying to have them in our lives.
So I seen some stats that said, like, they're a couple of years old, but it said, according to the latest stats, 70% of people don't know their neighbors.
Yeah.
And something like 95% of people don't know 3 doors down each
100%,
way.
100%, yeah.
So the 70 don't know who's next door, and then like 95% don't know who's 3 doors away. And for me, that is crazy, because I feel like when I grew up, I knew everybody on the street. Like, not even to say I spoke to everyone, but you know every family on that street. Like, I knew where every family lived on my road. Like, and there's 100 houses. But we knew every family. Like, you knew.
But is that because you was outside? Is that an age thing?
Outside? Yeah, 100%.
Because we had a field outside of our house, literally outside of our house where we grew up. So me and my brother and the rest of the kids in that area was always outside in that field.
Of course.
So we're gonna know people because it's more. It's the way the layout of the housing area, it made sense for community.
Yeah. It encouraged you out into the centre, into the middle.
100%. Yeah. So, and I'm also thinking, aside from Amazon deliveries, or DPD deliveries, when I'm not in, like, that's the only reason why a lot of the
know your neighbours.
The motivation is to know my neighbour. Like, oh yeah, you alright? How you doing? Yeah, cool. Smiling at them. So boom, when I'm not in, they can just deliver the package next door. And then it's calm and it's not like an issue.
No, I hear that. Do you know what it is though? And I think now it's kind of crazy. I think it's kind of awkward speaking to your neighbours sometimes now as well. Yeah.
Okay. Talk me more.
You know, like, you may only see them in passing. So, you know, leaving for work, coming home from work, coming out of the house, going out the house. They're coming out, you're coming out at the same time.
100%.
You smile. Like, you might not even know their name.
Yeah.
And you might have lived next door to them for years. But I think now, like, we ain't in that kind of, let's get to know each other. It's kind of, you keep yourself to yourself.
Yeah. And a lot of it is maybe because we think it's rude. Like, I don't want to take up too much of your time to say hello.
Yeah.
Or you might feel it's rude for them to try and take up your time.
Yeah.
So that's why it's literally just a head nod. You may not even look in their direction. You just say hello and your eyes glance somewhere else.
And it may be, like you said, there may be a time when you were so busy in a rush, something, and you never even acknowledge them. But from now on, that is not even first impression, but that impression is all right, cool. Like, you don't need to. It might just be that day you was in a rush and you didn't have time to say hello, or, you know, trying to put the kids or whatever. Everyone has different days.
Within the first week of you moving in, if you've not said hello, my name is so and so, then you're kind of dead, innit?
Yeah.
You can't really, after 2 years, say, oh, my name's... Like, do you know what I mean? It's just hey, hi, smile and nod. You can't really have a deep conversation unless you've had it kind of early on.
Do you know what, though? To change the narrative of this, where I live, there is like a little community.
Okay.
Like, definitely. Yeah. So, like, as soon as I arrived there, like, I've lived there now for like 4 years. The guy next door to me, like, come out, said who he was. Give me the, like, anything you need in my garden, just jump over. Like, he had lawnmower and that. He said, anything you need, just jump over. If the music's too loud, just knock the door, let me know. I said, yeah, same. And then outside, they used to, like, have barbecues and that, and there'd be like 5-6 people from the, like, I'm in a cul-de-sac, so, like, people from outside would be there and they would be playing music. And to me, that was like, this is how it used to be. To be fair, I didn't join in with none of it. Like, they always used to invite me, but I didn't join in with any of it. You know, not for any other reason was that, I got my own things. So maybe, like, that mentality of mine is now the mentality of a lot of people.
Okay.
You know, like, even though I enjoyed seeing that as a community, I didn't want to be involved in it.
Yeah, no, I hear it.
Like I would go past, speak to people. Like I still do now. Like I speak to people when they go past and have conversations, and we talk about certain things. But that's as far as it goes. Like I wouldn't go to someone's house and go sit down and chill. Or
in any of them.
Nah, and they wouldn't be invited. Like if I was having a barbecue, I wouldn't invite my neighbours. Kind of thing, you know them ones.
No, I hear it.
Whereas back in the days, if there was a barbecue running on the street, you didn't even need an invite. You just bust through the back and you're in.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Where I grew up. 100%.
Okay, no, I hear it.
Obviously, not everybody, but certain people. It was an open door policy. When I was young, my door used to stay unlocked 24 hours.
Yeah.
All night, my door's unlocked.
Okay.
We didn't used to lock the door.
What, because people could come in whenever they wanted to?
Or not because people could come in, just because it was a community, innit?
As in, so safety-wise, you felt everything was safe?
Yeah, and there was times when, like, we were out, we would come back, and there'd be people in the kitchen, you know, drinking a drink and just chilling, or out the back garden.
Oh, yeah, people you know.
Sat down, obviously people, neighbours.
But like, come into your yard?
Yeah, come into the yard, out the back garden, put a little music on, and they'd be sat outside with a drink. And we'd be out, like we would come back and they would be in the yard, out the back garden.
I don't know if I feel that.
Yeah, that's
I don't feel comfortable with that.
That's the kind of community spirit I grew up with, though. That's what I'm saying. So it was normal.
I hear it though. No,
and
I hear it.
I'm from the area. Oh, you don't need to not just come in. Okay. I never used to really like that, to be honest.
Yeah.
But I'm from that era where, you know, you go around a friend's yard. Mum and dad just say to, or mainly mum, because dad don't really alright, yeah. Mum would say to you, oh, don't worry about knocking, just come in, you're always welcome. You know? So I don't know, maybe.
No, I hear it.
Maybe that's why maybe that's why to me it seems like it's gone loads.
Yeah.
Whereas for some people, you might have just only experienced a little bit of community.
So do you think that depends on your economical background? So if you grew up in poorer areas, your reliance on community is a whole lot more important.
My personal experience, 100%.
Okay. Because I'm assuming that the elite, those that are very wealthy, may know their neighbours, but they don't rely on their neighbours. Yeah. Whereas poorer people may need to rely on their neighbours.
And there's obviously like borrowing. Like I know the joke, the sugar and that. Yeah. But that was massive in my community. Like people used to come by and like you'd say, oh, washing machine's broke down, you know, Liz from 5 doors up, you know, come down, do a load of washing, or somewhat, and that was obviously them kind of things used to happen regularly around my area. And
you know what, growing up, when I used to go to again, it's a community spirit that I think we've lost, because even when it wasn't my immediate area though. So like when I go to other people's houses, the idea of a community was like as a kid they'd feed me.
Okay.
Like if I was just chilling with their children, like just doing whatever, and they're eating food, they'd be like, "Oh, Dean, come." But
that's a must, though.
But I think that's like, I don't know if it's a must. So when I feel like if we're losing community, I think those are the kind of things that we're losing as well. Okay. Like our attachment to one another. But one of the things I was going to say as well is 2 things. One, I don't know if we should talk about it now, but because one thing, are we? Is it important that we're losing community? Does it matter? Like, are we losing something about society or losing something about ourselves when the community isn't like what it once was?
Yeah. So that's the thing. Yeah. So it's all well and good talking about how it used to be, but that is how it used to be.
Yeah.
And I think people have changed. Like,
better or worse, I guess, is the question.
I saw something else as well that said obviously COVID played a massive impact in community because you weren't allowed to be around your peers. You weren't allowed to be around the community. Yeah, you would literally see people with masks and didn't even want to stop and speak. It was a nod and, oh, I better not be around. And obviously you weren't even allowed to go see your parents and relatives and so on. So I think COVID played like a massive part in that. And there's like still some people probably of the older generation that are still a bit wary. Like I still see people wearing masks in shops and stuff now. So obviously that played a massive part. Even if there was just a little bit of community left, that kind of just said, yeah, you know, we can't see your neighbors, you can't see these people.
So I want to reframe what I said previously, and then I wanted to add something else. So in my mind, this is the way it comes across, that community is found at the base and at the top.
Okay.
So at the base of society, where economically speaking, if you're poor, then they're going to see a lot of community if you're in an area of poorer people. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Everyone's going to need one another, rely on one another, and even communication is just way better.
Yeah.
And then those at the top, because they've got everything, and they haven't got everything, but do you know what I mean? Economically, they've got what they've got. There's no fear in there's no fear in their conversations with their neighbors. Do you know what I mean? Whereas the middle is where I think we're losing community. Because where you're a working man trying to get money, trying to earn, you're scared of your neighbor because you think your neighbor might steal from you, rob from you, this, that, and the other. And I think there is a bit of naivety in the middle. So top, there's community, bottom, there's community, and they may even be similar.
Yeah,
in their forms of community as well. Children play together.
What they do, yeah.
But it's not mixed. Does that make sense?
Do you think, thinking about it now, and I know this for a fact because I was there.
Go on.
So you said there's like the lower class, the higher class. Do you think those communities don't mix?
I think when the classisms, I don't think the classes mix.
Yeah.
Any of the classes mix. Or when they do mix.
I think mid may mix. Like lower mid income, higher mid income may mix. You don't think that mixes either?
So I think even when they do mix, it's not community. And what I mean by that is like they may interact, but their interaction is limited. And it's not a real sense of community.
Yeah.
Because you're not seen as equal. If you're at the top and you're equal, like I've got enough, you've got enough. We can have a sense of community and friendship.
Yeah.
And if you're at the bottom, you can have a community and friendship. But when you're at the bottom and at the top, there is transactional. Has to be transactional.
Oh, okay.
You're here with these rules. Like you can come into my house, or you can come into the living room, and that's it. Or you can not come to the house, but you can come to the door. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So and community may look different. So like, you can hang out, you can come to the birthday party, but my daughter can't go to your birthday party.
So that was what I was saying. So like, growing up, obviously not as a young child, but probably getting to secondary school.
Yeah.
Like people would say, "Oh, my mum said I can't come to your area." Like that was, they were like, "Oh, I'm not allowed." And not even to say that they were high class or in that, but they were from a more affluent area.
Yeah.
And my area was seen like, but even though the community spirit within my area was probably 10 times,
1,000 times
what they seen in their area, it was just seen that just because it was a big council estate area that no, you can't really. So obviously that stopped people from mixing because it was seen that in my area, you'd get robbed, this would happen, that would happen, that just because it was a lower class than maybe the middle and the higher class. And
you may deem community totally different if you're in those different classes as well. So if you're in the top class, when you think of community, you're thinking about maybe going to the golf clubs and do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? Going to like private membership clubs with people.
Why?
Oh, Sally's got this kind of party on. All the women are going to the spa. That's local. This, that, and the other.
That's mad to think, isn't it?
Do you know what I mean?
That's mad to think, man.
Or you're all part of like the Freemasons, and you've got to give a specific amount of money to charity. Blah blah blah. Let's not go there. Sorry. But what my thought was, what I was going to say was, there is in some contexts ways in which Britain, quote unquote, is trying to build community. So one of the ways in which we did it was the NHS potting pots and pans back during COVID. Yeah. So when we went out to put, smack pots, it was to see our neighbours. And for them to,
who else come out?
Yeah. Who's not come out?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't see you last week, mate. I didn't see you last week. Yeah. Sorry, I was I'm here now. Do you know what I mean? So it wasn't necessarily for NHS, even though we were doing it for the NHS. It was really for some kind of camaraderie.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Everyone come out.
I see everyone coming out the door, knocking the pans. That was dope. As well as not specific coronation, but there has been coronation parties.
That was next. I was gonna say. So I think probably. What was Jubilee? When was that? That was...
the Queen's Jubilee, isn't it?
Yeah, the Queen's Jubilee. So I feel that was like pretty big in the UK. And like there were streets closed down and there was parties going on. I can't remember how long ago that was. Or even the one before, like her 50th. And like you see it on TV and there's whole streets shut. Yeah. I feel like for this coronation that's just gone... I didn't even see a party. Like I saw a few flags.
Yeah.
I saw a few like people put balloons up outside their house, but I didn't see in where I was driving around or going place to place anything that was like a community party or a celebration. Whereas before, I saw streets getting shut down, communities coming together. So that's made me think. Obviously, over the time? Is it the royal family that people just they don't care about, or is it just the sense of community is lost?
Because when the Jubilee was, we literally for our street, for my Crescent, there was a street party. So we had neighbours coming out. Everyone was either in their own gardens, chairs out in their gardens and tables, or they were like connecting tables together, all coming together. So it was an amazing sense of community in that regards. Because then at least you're getting to know people and you've got an opportunity to talk. Like you're encouraged to have a conversation.
And you have a relatable topic.
Exactly.
At the Jubilee.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's good in terms of community. But sometimes it's hard to find reasons to commune. Does that make sense? Like that's a clear indication. Yeah, we should just come outside in our pots and pans and make a hell of a lot of noise and laugh and giggle at each other. Oh, he's got a big pot. He's got a Dutch pot. Oh, I didn't even know he knew what that was. You know what I mean? So those things were good. But if there's no reason to have communion, then we're not going to commune.
No, definitely. So where you are now, when was the last time you knocked on a neighbour's door?
I have not knocked on my neighbour's door.
Do you know your neighbours?
My neighbour to my right know me.
What does that mean?
But they know my name.
And to be fair, Amazon.
And to be fair, one of my neighbours a few doors away come to Jokes and Juice.
Okay, nice.
So they've come at least the last two.
Decent.
So yeah, they're good. And everyone else, it just depends what it is. And do you know what it is? It's the context in which you meet your neighbour.
Yeah.
So hopefully none of my neighbours are watching this, but like if you're a neighbour who I'm always hearing screams and shouts and abuse, and things getting thrown around in the house, I don't really want to mix up. Do you know what I mean? True. So I may knock on the door to say, like, is everything all right? All right, cool.
Are you doing that though?
No, because it's not gone to that. It's not gone to that extreme. Do you know what I mean? And again, so that's a community. That's a person I don't want in my quote unquote community in my region. Does that make sense? Yeah.
So we haven't even really touched on like good and bad neighbours. Obviously, this was a bit different. We're still trying to talk about the community sense.
Yeah.
But obviously that makes a massive impact as well. Like who your neighbours are and who your community is, where you are.
Are they worthwhile to be invited into community?
Yeah. Are they, and you getting to know them or you being involved in this community, is it beneficial to you? So I think that's probably now a lot of people are looking at, like you mentioned it before, is it worth time? I think like for me to be invited to like a community centre to talk with the community about issues in my area, is it beneficial to me?
That's a good question. That's a good point.
Like and I know that's probably not the best approach.
No,
because it's the community, so everyone should have a view. But I look at it like, is it beneficial to me? And is what I'm going to say or what I bring to the table going to be considered or taken into consideration?
Yeah.
So that's kind of, for me, when I get those letters through the door and I look and say, oh, there's this or there's that. That's kind of what I...
One of the things I would say, I don't know how long we got left, but just to say that community is often built around problems.
Yeah.
So if someone's sewer, I remember when I used to live with my parents in the old house, they used to have a sewer issue in our next door neighbour. Our next neighbour used to have a sewer issue, and his whatever sewer thing used to block and mess up the street.
Okay.
That way, luckily.
Oh, nice.
So they're all coming out of the house is like, what's happening? What's happening here? And there's a community around that issue. If there was like a lot of crime in an area, then a community crime or crime watch or what do you call it?
Community crime watch. Yeah.
Those kind of things, or having a Facebook group. I've heard of a Facebook group so everyone on that street, so they know, okay, this happened on Friday. This is the video from my ring cam. Boom. Has anyone seen this person?
Yeah.
Has anything else happened to you guys? So on those things, you can bring a sense of community when there's a purpose. Oftentimes, there doesn't seem to be a clear purpose.
It's just not for any other reason other than touching on that quickly. Them Facebook groups, they go off. Are you on any of them?
I'm not on any of them.
Oh, no. I'm on my local area one.
Oh yeah, or spotted. Is it a spotted one?
No, it's just like I think it's called local area. Okay. Yo, people go off on them. You know,
in what sense?
Just anything
in terms of like anger, frustration.
Like,
but is it relevant to the area?
Kids playing, like birds making noise, cars going past. So I think they're the new community forums. Yeah. So people physically don't go out to the community centre no more.
Yeah.
But they do put it on like notice boards, like
100%.
This notice board, that notice board. If there's things going on in the area, Like I've seen like there's events going on, they pull it on there, or they want to look for someone, or someone's lost something, or like I see a lot of Alistair Chambers is my counsellor or whatever he is in the area. He gets added a lot with like if there's damages in the area, or there's rubbish left. So I think that's kind of the new.
So that's what I was going to say. Like a sense of community has been lost, our old sense of community, but the new community is online. So it's not physically meeting up. It's a lot more different, isn't it?
Yeah. So I think we'll go into like a more digital base.
Yeah. But so have we lost community, or is it still there if it's digital?
I think we lost community in the sense of physical, being around people. But I think people are still talking and communicating. But I think a lot of it now is just online.